and for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So our first item is approval of minutes. Are there any objections to the January 5th, 2023 regular meeting minutes?
I believe we need to correct the vote on agenda item number 7, that it was, the vote was 3-2 with Commissioner Stolifer and myself in the minority. Yes.
I've got a couple other corrections too. So I wasn't sure, I thought Commissioner Kraus was going to be on CTUB, or is that?
I did not know.
Oh, I don't know, I'm asking, was that you or Commissioner Kraus?
That was
Okay, all right. The following page after, I don't have the page number here. After the board appointments, I believe it's Lynn Fields. We have Lynn Dillo.
She got married.
Oh, okay, so her name did change. Okay, sorry about that. And I believe, yeah, I just had the revisions that Commissioner Tabbitt called out with the votes.
And are those all the corrections? Okay. So with those corrections, the minutes are approved. Next up is approval of requisitions. Are there any objections to January 19th, 2023 for $22,505.14? If there are no objections, they are approved. Approval of accounts payable, January 5th, 2023 for $1,959,137.75. Hearing no objections, those are approved. January 12th, 2023 for $118,588.96. Hearing no objections, they are approved. January 19th, 2023 for $421,559.66. Hearing no objections, they are approved. Approval of manual checks for January 6th, 2023 for $71,969.34. Hearing no objections, they are approved. January 13th for 2023 for $6,064.47. Hearing no objections, they are approved. January 20th, 2023 for $225,698.86. Hearing no objections, they are approved. Approval of payroll for January 6th, 2023 for $286,883.09. Hearing no objections, they are approved. January 20th, 2023 for $289,011.91. Hearing no objections, they are approved. Do we have any announcements, changes in the agenda?
Yes, one, Clerk Renner has pulled her item from the agenda.
Okay. Any others? So with that, I open public comment. Our first in the room sign up is Mark Petitier.
Thank you.
Yep, took 3 minutes.
I have to teach you how to say it with a French accent.
No, not good at accents.
I'm going to ask you all to please make that draft policy proposal about praying available so that there could be discussion and public comment on it. And please advance that agenda item to be next on the docket. I don't know if that's possible or not, but if you can do it, I appreciate it. Okay, so let's get into my comment. It is highly objectionable forcing anyone to participate in a religious ritual, especially in one of a specific religion or any at all that others don't believe. It's written in that book of yours that your own deity said to pray in private, in a closet. You've got a lot of nerve and hypocrisy to think you can countermand your own religious tenets. You know, most of the early European settlers came here to escape persecution because they didn't want to be told what to believe. or how to practice their faith. So I urge you all to withdraw that motion. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Steve Harris.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name's Steve Harris. I am on the Board of Directors for the Jefferson County Emergency Services Agency, and I currently am the treasurer. I'm here this evening to enter into public record and to speak to this commission of a vote of no confidence. Dear Honorable Commissioners, during this Tuesday meeting, January 17th, 2023, board meeting, the Jefferson County Emergency Services Agency and board passed a vote of no confidence in the county administrator, John Nissel, for his lack of professionalism and poor performance related to the county's transition of emergency medical services. During the January 5th County Commission meeting, there was an exchange between Mr. Nissel and Director Berner regarding the loss of essential staff with the resignation of operations commander and the agency needing more time to perform functions related to this transition. Mr. Nissel was complacent and dismissive of Director Berner's efforts to be transparent with the county commission and the public. Over the past several weeks, Mr. Nissel has failed to act on several purchase orders submitted to him for processing and payment related to that transition. Even though details and supporting documents were provided in accordance with the purchase order policy, more and more information was requested. Even after being provided, delayed the process of paying invoices. Between the problem with purchase orders, the lack of planning and poor performance with the county takeover of the ambulance service, and the browbeating that Director Berner took from Mr. Nissel at the last commission meeting, we are now in a dilemma of having to find a new director for the ESA, as well as being faced with losing other valuable members of the agency when we are already at a critical point of trying to hire much needed new employees and retain the ones we have. The agency has endured the loss of two essential command staff in the operations commander and the director since the first of this year. In closing, the board of directors is submitting this vote of no confidence letter to express the lack of professional respect and poor performance of Mr. John Nissel, County Administrator. The board further requests that the commission take consequential action against Mr. Nissel up to and including finding a suitable replacement from the county administrator. Best regards, the Jefferson County Board of Emergency Services Agency Board of Directors. Thank you.
Next I have Barb Fuller.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Fuller, and I am a Jefferson County resident. I want to talk to you about the prayer and Constitution. In 1787, the Constitutional Convention convened. After 5 weeks, the representatives from 13 colonies were deadlocked. They were arguing, and they couldn't come to any sort of conclusion. Before they all called it quits, Ben Franklin got up and reminded them how they used to pray before all meetings during the Revolutionary War. So they stopped and they prayed for 3 days. What did that accomplish? Well, I'll tell you. 34% of the Constitution comes directly from Bible verses. The formation of the branches of government come directly from Isaiah 33:22 and Deuteronomy 17:15. And those state, "For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king, and it is he who shall save us." That verse refers to the formations of the branches of government. Now I ask you, why is it we can all say that we believe in the Constitution, but we can't spend 3 minutes in prayer? Maybe if there was a little bit more divine intervention, he would have advised Mr. Nissel to forego the $2,000 love seat. Or better yet, maybe he would have advised the finance director not to engage with residents on Facebook. And to the man behind me who stated that what I was spewing was bull, please look up David Barton and you'll learn all about it.
You need to get a brain.
Next I have, I believe it's Richard
Yeah,
Bell.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'd also like to make this submission to the county commission. I wish to submit my opposition to the motion of Commissioners Jackson and Kraus to add a religious prayer to the official agenda of the meetings of the commission. As quoted in the January 11th, 2023 issue of the Spirit of Jefferson, Commissioner Kraus specifically mentions God and the Holy Spirit. This is a direct reference to the God of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The specific statement excludes many religions, some of which are practiced by citizens of Jefferson County. For example, Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, and perhaps also the followers of Lao Tzu and Shintoism and others. It also excludes atheists and agnostics and perhaps even animists. To ensure that no citizen of the county is not excluded, a survey of residents would be necessary to ascertain their faith, which would be an invasion of privacy. Do they propose having a prayer for each of these religions at each meeting? That would be much too time consuming. Choosing a single religion at each meeting would exclude those not of that night's religion. The commission should follow the spirit of the U.S. Constitution to not allow the establishment of religion. To allow such prayers at meetings of the commission would allow religious proselytizing during public meetings. I would support Commissioner Stolfer's suggestion for a moment of silence and Commissioner Tabb's suggestion of private thoughts. Such policies would not represent an infringement on religious freedom, since those who choose to offer their prayers could offer their prayers privately outside of the commission meetings. And to add an additional comment in reference to what you said, the private, during the formation of the Constitution, the people that were there forming the Constitution were free to express their own private religious beliefs. Just because they did so in the formation of the Constitution does not make an establishment of religion a law in the United States. It's nowhere in the Constitution. It's part of history, but it has absolutely nothing to do with what is appropriate for the proceedings of a government, either a county, state, or the national government. Thank you.
Next I have Lynn Whitmire.
Good evening. I'm here to speak also on the possible adoption of a proposed invocation and prayer policy. My first comment is it's not in the packet that I reviewed yesterday, so I don't know what the particulars are. But first, I'd like to quote Reverend Martin Luther King about prayer, which seems appropriate since we just celebrated his birthday, and he wrote, "Prayer should never be a substitute for work and intelligence. Prayer is very important, but when the county commission meets, they should focus on work and thoughtful decision-making." Second, rather than proposing an invocation and prayer policy, what the commission should do is pass the resolution condemning hate crimes, discrimination, and white supremacy. This resolution was sent to the county commission in August and has yet to be placed on the agenda. Finally, newly elected commissioners have spoken endlessly of the need for transparency. But as I mentioned earlier, there is no proposed policy for prayer in the posted agenda packet that I reviewed yesterday. And I would say that's a violation of your own policies of putting meaningful background material in for the citizens of, to read and understand. It is ironic to me that a prayer policy is being proposed when unkindness and narrow-mindedness to me are becoming hallmarks of this commission. And based on some of the comments tonight, I'm afraid they're becoming part of the general population, which makes me very sad. I can only pray that I am wrong. Thank you.
Okay. Next, I have Jeff Roth.
My name's Jeff Roth. I'm a lifelong resident, more or less. Grew up here. And I just wanted to say a few things, maybe level the playing field and say a few things about John Nissel. I've known John and his wife Maureen for about 30 years, something like that. And John has always been a middle of the road guy. And I wouldn't call him progressive or terribly conservative. He's always looking for the right solution to whatever the problem is. And it's generally an elegant solution. And I think if you let John slip through your fingers, it's going to be to your detriment because he knows how to do things.
Next up, we have David Tabb.
David Tabb, lifelong resident taxpayer. I have heard that some 19,000 plus letters were sent out increasing our property assessments. The county had 365 days to produce this. You only have 8 days to respond. I haven't even gotten mine yet, so I got less than that. There is no guarantee of the value that they place on it that you will get it. It is not for the good of the seller until the property is actually sold. This amount will only increase the amount of tax you pay. Jim Justice said several months ago that we had over $1 billion in reserve. I'm looking at a 30% increase on my property. Others can actually have more. We're actually having a board review here tonight, so I'm a part of it. It was supposed to have been done in October. This county commission is in violation of that. I made one settlement on one piece of property because I figured I couldn't get a fair hearing here. The GSA issue is that we've already lost upper management. The question is, where is this going to stop? This is squarely on the commissioner's shoulders. I've also heard rumors that the JCSA, which we just heard about, is going to have personal attacks against John Nessel. I believe Mr. Nessel works to the pleasure of the county commissioners. I've met with Mr. Nessel numerous times. He's very courteous and professional. Even through when we have differences of opinion, we always conclude one can agree to disagree. The previous administrator would not even give me the time of day. I would like to encourage everyone that the issues that we have with the emergency service right now to be pointed at the county commissioners, not its employees. The commissioners have made the decision to change emergency service. That did not include the participation of the volunteer fire, nor the public. Y'all have a nice day.
Next, we have Maureen Doherty.
Maureen Doherty, Shepherdstown. This is the first public meeting I've attended in person, as I typically watch and listen from home. This past summer, I recall the commission voted to allow ESA to manage the transition of the ambulance service from ESA to the county by March 1st, 2023. It was my understanding that ESA indicated that they were 90% done, and it would not be necessary to hire outside help for a smooth transition to take place. In fact, there was another ESA representative in the public audience that evening who indicated they were 95% done. Isn't it odd that ESA would be 95% done last summer, but now are unable to complete the transition by March 1st? Once a person or group accepts public responsibility for completing a task or project and they are not able to deliver, wouldn't it be more prudent to admit this and ask for assistance rather than to blame others? Apparently, the entire ESA board decided it was more convenient to fault the county administrator and cast a unanimous vote of no confidence than to accept responsibility for themselves. Secondly, I would like to address the small contingency of bullies who take to social media to repeatedly exaggerate any new ideas, decisions, policies, proposals, or changes happening in Jefferson County to undermine and belittle anyone who thinks differently than themselves. Though they often loom under the disguise of protecting the taxpayers' rights, money, and being transparent, they attempt to create problems that essentially just do not exist. According to leading psychologists, bullies are defined as those who participate in personal insults, ridiculing jokes, threats, and public shaming. Therefore, they do not, furthermore, they do this not for the betterment of the community they serve, but to feed their own narcissistic behavior. One recent example of this habitual churning is how a purchase of a simple couch in the office reception area was repeatedly scrutinized and sensationalized. I personally believe that many residents are ready to rise above the blame games, the bullies, the mean-spirited approaches that stymie progress and ignore collaborative efforts. Perhaps the commission should consider adopting policies of civility and inclusivity. This would prioritize emphasis on respecting one another's thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. Allow us to collectively work together, agree to disagree without ridiculous retaliation, and focus on solutions that would benefit all Jefferson County residents. Thank you.
Next, I have Karen Smith.
Thank you. My name is Karen Smith, and I'm a former resident of Shepherdstown. I've known Mr. John Nissel since he was a student at Shepherd, where I was the assistant dean of students. Throughout his career as a student at Shepherd and in his various professional and volunteer positions, Mr. Nissel has always been a man of utmost integrity and has often gone beyond the scope of his job to meet the needs of the members of the community he serves, especially those underrepresented. Mr. Nissel has had his character, integrity, and honesty called into question with malicious accusations and innuendos. He has persisted to fulfill his duties and maintain a professional stance in the face of hurtful and hateful attacks. The people of Jefferson County chose him last year from among many other qualified candidates. And yet certain members of the community are obstacles to his ability to excel in his position, as he has in every other position he has held throughout his long and successful career. Jefferson County is lucky and blessed to have Mr. John Nissel as their county administrator, who is and will always be the person to pursue what is in the best interest of the residents who he serves. On behalf of all those who know John personally and professionally, I want it on the record that various members of this community have created a hostile environment that has thwarted his abilities to bring to Jefferson County the fullness of his leadership skills and abilities. Thank you.
Next, I have Denise Nick.
Good evening. I'm not only a citizen, but a taxpayer and a voter of Jefferson County, and as such, I'm also an integral part of this governing body in the process. I'm disappointed with the resignation of Mr. Bob Berner, the director of the Emergency Services Agency. Jefferson County is truly losing a dedicated and compassionate employee who was fit for this position, all because of the decisions this body has made. He's been attentive and very responsive to any questions or requests made of him. So I'll ask this for the public's sake. What is the significance of a March 1st deadline to transfer the ESA from an agency to a county department? What's at stake? What's in it for the public? What's in it for you? The public does not want a county department. It functions fine as an agency with a board which includes citizen representation. It's our voice and less government. Furthermore, I'd like to address the disrespect, if not downright bullying, Mr. Berner endured by Mr. Nissel at the last county commission meeting held on January 5th. Mr. Nissel's actions were unnecessary and I'm sure resulted in no consequences. Speaking of employee actions, Ms. Krista Davis, the county finance director, was witnessed on social media disrespecting a public official, one of her many supervisors. He was spreading misinformation by referencing a commissioner as an author to a Facebook page. The Facebook page states who owns and operates the page, but Krista just couldn't help herself by calling out this commissioner. And why she felt a need to do such a thing makes me wonder where Krista got such false information. I'm sure her actions also resulted in no consequences. In the January 5th meeting, Krista asked, "Where's the trust?" Well, I guess she provided her answer in her behavior. Now we have two rogue employees by definition who are insubordinate yet feel empowered to speak in any manner, to address others with such unprofessionalism and to conduct themselves without consequences. You see, this is the problem when this body isn't transparent with the public it's supposed to serve. This body has failed to vet candidates for these positions and takes people at their word. Is this body following the hiring process? Is this body following the EEOC guidelines? Has this body considered a social media policy for employees? And what does Mr. Nissel have against transparency? On another subject, is the county commission open to the public? If it's not open, this body failed those they serve once again by voting to spend taxpayer money on something not necessary at this time and not budgeted, all because the county administrator wanted it. What a waste and a lack of transparency. Lastly, on social media, Commissioner Stolifer is witnessed in not one, but two photos with people dressed in blackface, yet the silence is deafening. No protest of Commissioner Stolifer, no NAACP request for removal, no calls for resignation. You want to do it? Thank you.
And next we have Andrea Elliott.
I'm Andrea Elliott and I live in Jefferson County. I'm just going to go ahead and finish up where she left off. Mr. Casto, who was previously gave public comment to be shared in the minutes in an earlier meeting, claimed to be a defender against white supremacy, and yet to date, Mr. Casto has yet to condemn such actions against Commissioner Stolifer. In fact, Mr. Casto is a friend, confidant, professional consultant, or what have you to Commissioner Stolifer. Even so, to the point of the Commissioner Stolifer, something's, I don't know what you've got there, honey. Mr. Casto's sentiments on social media in this very body during meetings. Therefore, in my opinion, Mr. Casto is seen merely as a mouthpiece for Commissioner Stolifer's wrongful actions, who has yet to condemn white supremacy himself, especially after the publication of these photos. He remains silent. What I wanted to say during my section I wanted to understand the connection between the hiring process. I really do want to understand this, the hiring process and the lack of transparency with that process. And the demeaning of a commissioner when they attempt to ask for transparency and additional information prior to a hire. And what follows is that hired employee using social media to levy false allegations about the very same commissioner that voted against this hire. Because this commissioner was not provided a resume or additional information to make such a determination. As someone who sits on this side of the table, I wonder, is this a practice that is organized? And if it is, who is organizing it? Because we expect every commissioner to be included in the process of hiring, not the exclusion of one or two. Everyone needs to be included so they can make the best determination and have the information for our best interests. So moving forward, I would like to see every commissioner included in all the information for additional hires.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the room who would like to give public comment? No? Do we have anyone online?
Moran? Yourself muted? Ms. Moran?
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Okay, Joanne Curran, Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. The County Commission agenda is very full tonight. I'll just take a moment as a citizen to support the teachers of Jefferson County in their vote of no confidence in the 3 board members in question, President Kathy Skinner, Vice President Lori Ogden, Mr. Osborne, based on all the evidence and their actions taken regarding the exams. I'd also like to ask the commission to join in presenting their own letter of no confidence to these 3 board members. The exam decision is bad enough, but this disrespectful disregard of the process of these 3 sweeps over to all their other financial and personnel decisions. And I'd like to add a request for essentially a vote of no sympathy for Skinner, Ogden, and Osborne. It may seem like a nice thing to do to give them a sympathetic benefit of the doubt, but remember the teachers and students and their families were and are the victims here. A vote of no confidence and a vote of no sympathy. Because there's no legal action that can be taken, it is customary for the accused to step down for the sake of the organization, which wouldn't even have become an issue if these board members had the integrity to recuse themselves from the original exam vote because of their conflict of interest. Lastly, regarding the motion to start the county commission meetings with an acceptable prayer, I would suggest that you take your lead from those with much more experience and power in all state and national government, and from the Ben Franklin quote mentioned by Commissioner Krause, to begin each time you gather to do the people's business with an acceptable prayer to an even greater power that has served this country well for hundreds of years. Unless you think our little county commission knows better than any of those. Thank you.
Is there anyone else online? Okay. Well, with that, we close public comment, and we'll move to our first agenda item, Roger Goodwin. Roger, are you online or?
Signed in the parking lot when I got here, so I'll get here and carry over the office.
So,
Luke?
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
All right, awesome. So the proposal I have here today is coming from the Planning Commission as well as staff to have asked for a joint commission meeting with the County Commission and the Planning Commission to take place on February 2nd. The point of this.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You don't sound very clear. Can you repeat everything you just said, please? And slow down just a tad.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry if it's a little bit shaky on my side. So we are asking, Planning Commission and staff is asking for a joint County Commission and Planning Commission meeting. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Not really.
Still a little muffled.
Just a little muffled.
All right, I'm hoping that helps a little bit more. Jenny, can you actually take over on this? If my audio is not working, I won't be able to present this effectively.
That sounds a little bit bad.
Hey, Jenny, could you step forward and take this one? I won't be able to communicate this.
Maybe can we email his comments so that
It's in the agenda.
Is it the agenda?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he's looking for action on this, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Roger, can you present for Luke? He's for the audible. He has 3 agenda items.
Did you get through the first one with the request
No,
for the
no.
joint meeting? Okay.
So Alex, if you would do that, that'd be.
Sure. So the first request before you is a request for a joint meeting with the county commission and the planning commission. By state code, the comprehensive plan must be updated every 10 years. To have the update ready for approval by December of 2024, the process has been underway since November of 2022. Planning commission and staff have prepared a timeline to meet the schedule and state requirements. This includes multiple avenues for public outreach, updates on county growth trends, infrastructure needs, and an implementable action plan. During this joint session, staff would like the county commission and planning commission to take part in a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats activity. Staff is looking for initial guidance from both bodies on potential priorities that the comprehensive plan update should be focused on. All of the above approvals and activity is best done in a joint setting, so both bodies can discuss the role of the planning commission in the update. So the request would be to hold a special session or a joint meeting on February 2nd to discuss the comprehensive plan update, direction, and approve the proposed timeline, scope of work, and strategy. I believe the thought was that maybe it could be an afternoon session after the regular meeting.
What time?
If 1:30 or 1 o'clock, whatever would work for the commission.
I would recommend, we have to meet the morning meeting that day. So I don't know how, probably go till 11 or 11:30, so take a break for lunch and reconvene at 1.
So I will move to have a joint session with the Jefferson County Planning Commission on February 2nd, 2023 at 1 p.m. to discuss the comprehensive plan update direction and approve the proposed timeline, scope of work, and strategy.
Second.
And second. Any discussion? And
All those in favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and with that, it passes 4-0.
Where will that meeting be? Here?
Here.
Okay, and then next on the agenda, Roger.
Comprehensive plan summer intern approvals, the next item. This is a request to adjust the fiscal year 2023 budget to allow the Department of Engineering Planning to hire 2 temporary summer interns starting in May of 2023. This adjustment's to add additional staffing for the comprehensive plan update, the Envision Jefferson 2045 comprehensive plan update. The change would add $7,000 to the extra help budget line item and requires no benefits like insurance and so forth. The pay rate would be $15 an hour. The intern employment will likely start May 22nd, 2023, and likely conclude August 4th, 2023. The $7,000 adjustments to serve as the expected pay needed in fiscal year 2023, and then the remaining compensation will come from the fiscal year 2024 budget. And we've put money in our budget request to carry those interns and fund them all the way through August in the 2024 budget. It's important for this budget adjustment to take place in January so the internship opportunity can be advertised when most potential applicants are looking for such a position. And we've had in the past historically a number of interns from Shepherd College doing various work in our office in GIS and planning and so forth. And county brought on 3 interns for the Envision Jefferson 2035 comprehensive plan who assisted in the research, data collection, and production of maps and graphics required for the planning process. The proposed interns would serve in the same capacity to provide support to staff to research, in research and public outreach. Specifically, the interns will assist with public outreach, trend analysis, and incorporating best practices. It's worth noting that during the process of preparing the Envision Jefferson 2035 plan 10 years ago, there were 8 staff members in the planning and zoning office, and no major development was occurring as we were in a recession. Conversely, the office presently has 5 staff members. We've got less people through attrition and a number of major residential and non-residential projects to review. Our workload has picked up greatly. The addition of summer interns will help alleviate some of the workload during the busiest part of the update process. So we have a motion down there, and we're asking for $7,000 to be put in our current budget, and I'll defer to Mr. Nissel as to where potentially that funding could come from.
So we were proposed that Roger's out of money.
Yeah.
He's at the end of his money train. So we would propose that we would do a state-approved budget transfer out of the E911 budget to cover this, the dollars he needs to bring on these interns. I think with the aggressive schedule for the comprehensive plan, keep on track with getting that thing completed, we probably.
I guess I have a question. Do we have any funds left in ARPA? And this would qualify, right? Because it's an intern temporary position to carry us until, do we have anything in ARPA that we could, instead of E911?
I'm checking with legal now.
Is it related to?
It's not really, I don't think it's really relatable. We could take it out of perhaps full severance. Might be a better line to pull that out. We do have, I think, $42,000 for full severance.
Can we do salary out of cold severance?
I don't know. We'll have to check on that. But I think it would be easier to do a state budget transfer out of the E911 lapse. Right now, they have a salary lapse in there with plenty of money to cover that. And that would only go to the end of the fiscal year, and that money would be, their budget would be recharged after July 1.
I want to do the interns, but I feel like I would need more information on the E911 budget to make a decision.
We can
If we
push,
can fund it that way.
we can push this to the February 2nd meeting.
I agree. I just would like to know where we're going to take the funds. I want to make sure it's not going to impact another department or an essential department.
Okay, we'll push it to February 2nd meeting. We'll get on the agenda.
The third one.
The third one.
So the third request before you is a request to approve, for approval to advertise to fill the planning clerk position. We would like to advertise this position, which was vacated on January 6th. The position is critical to the mission of the Planning and Zoning Office, not only for carrying out day-to-day clerical functions, but this position is needed to provide clerical assistance with the updates of the comprehensive plan. Time is of the essence. Roger just indicated to me that the budget, current salary that's listed in here is actually budgeted at $37,668 as opposed to the $35,000 that's in there.
What was that number? I'm sorry.
$37,668.
Thank you.
So the request would be to advertise the position at that rate.
36,
Yes.
Or
Or
37, yes.
$37,668. And I'm sorry, my voice keeps cracking.
And you feel like you have enough leeway in your current budget that you will or will not need additional funding for this position?
The person who is now vacant from the position never got to the point of receiving a merit increase. That merit increase is in the current budget. So we actually have that salary amount in the budget finishing up.
So it should be budget neutral. but-
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'll move to approve the advertising to fill the position of the planning clerk in the Department of Engineering, Planning and Zoning at a not to exceed salary of $37,668.
And I will second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. So that is 4-0. Okay.
And I just wanted to give you some notice that on February 2nd, we're also going to be bringing to you and presenting the calendar year 2022 impact fees annual report and the fiscal year 2024 impact fees capital improvement plan. So that also. Thanks.
Next up, we have Russell Burgess.
Sean, you
Evening, Commissioners. I'm going to talk to you about the Geek Ready program, and with me is Sean Diego.
Don't worry, my mother gets it wrong too.
How do I say that?
Egypt.
Okay.
Or Sean.
Sean from the Jefferson County Development Authority and Dennis Jarvis from the Jefferson County Development Authority. If it's okay with you, I'd like to have Sean start off and lead us into this.
What I'm about to present to you, any questions on the technology side, please revert back to Russ. And when it comes to the state program, Mr. Jarvis. As you're aware, the county published a request for a proposal looking for a collaborative partner in development implementation of the broadband plan in accordance with the West Virginia Gig Ready program. Following the county's release of the RFP, we put together a committee including Russ, the county administrator, the county finance director, the JCDA director, Dr. Ellerich as the citizen rep, and myself as the board chair from the JCDA. We received 3 completed proposals, one from Comcast, one from Frontier, and one from Allpoint. The committee met to open the proposals that were sealed and submitted to us and to review them. And the proposal evaluation criteria included qualifications and experience, approach, methodology, and timeline, cost proposal, and matching funds. Comcast Communications has proposed the following: to offer qualifying broadband service at least 1 gigabit per second or 100 megabits per second service to over 2,100 underserved or unserved locations within the county, as well as throughout the existing service area. So they're not just going to do the underserved or unserved, they're going to ensure that it goes throughout the entire county as well. To deploy a fiber network capable of symmetrical service of 1 gigabit per second or higher to a majority of the unserved premises within the project area. To complete the project within the required 24-month period following an executed grant agreement, and to seek, in conjunction with the county, a $17.9 million grant under the Gig Ready program to supplement Comcast's capital investment of $6.1 million. It is, although all 3 providers submitted complete proposals, it is based on the grading and review and discussion that we are recommending as a committee unanimously Comcast to be selected as your partner in this endeavor.
So at this point, if you have any questions, I offer up Russ.
Yeah, so the 2,100 residents, whereabouts are those pockets of residents, communities, and what reach do we have with that?
Can you answer?
Pretty much throughout all of Jefferson County. They have a map on the West Virginia Department of Economic, I forget the whole name, but there's a broadband map. And basically from surveys that were sent out or people responding, they were able to put out there that they did not have broadband or whatever kind of service they had. And they are all little dots all out through the county. I think it's probably been quite a number of months ago. We had a couple of those maps here. David Deemer from Region 9, I think, brought those up and showing, but they're not in any one part of the county. They're all over the county.
And he's correct. This was a very thorough study with Region 9 Plan Development County and the West Virginia Office of Technology and with the West Virginia Development Office. Just real quickly, if you remember, we had $1 billion set aside from Governor Justice that had two tranches, one federal, one state. And we had to set aside the match. And there's a little over 500 million left. We had our RFP in concert with the 3 adjoining counties in the PDC, Berkeley and Morgan. They both went through the similar endeavor. And we have spoken with the office, the PDC office, plus the appropriate offices in Charleston. And upon your all's approval, we'll submit the proper paperwork and move forward.
Do we know the percentage that has service that's underserved and the ones that do not? The unserved, do we know what that dynamic is?
You know, I don't have that data on hand. You know, it was very, and when I say to you very thorough, it was a subsequent study. It was completed with Design 9, if you remember prior, and then an additional dive that we did with both SEC and RGIS and what have you. We'll get that specific information. I don't want to be irrelevant and not give you.
Yeah, I'm thinking some service is better than none, so
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
worried about reaching people.
But it was, Mr. Russ was right. It covers the entire county, and it's addresses. And it could be a facility with, it could be it could be an apartment with 12 units. That is one residence. And you see the tier prices, ACP certified for the Fed. It meets all that criteria. It's a very good program when we had 3 worthy groups. And the same 3 redundancy was in the region. The same 3 companies responded to the RFP within the region. So we're fairly competitive. I don't know what the other 2 jurisdictions have done, but everyone saw the value in our region.
So I tried reading through all this. Didn't understand a lot of it, but some of the proposals talked about the cost to the citizen. So was that part of your evaluation or?
It was.
And
It was.
who will control that? Is that FCC? Is that, you know, what? Who?
I don't know who controls the pricing for broadband. I do know that they all provided a pricing breakout. Some were a little more extensive than others. Some were just the bare minimums.
Right.
This rate, this rate, this rate
Right.
for this speed, this speed, this speed. Some broke those speed down to 2 sections or 3 sections. And as Mr. Jarvis had explained or covered briefly, there is a federal program that families and locations can apply for that gives you a $30 credit toward a speed. So
Yeah, I know, I was reading
it's
through
the
it.
AC.
Comcast, it says they.
It's the basically,
Yeah. But they also, which I had like, because if you have internet, you can't afford it. What's
Right,
the
yeah,
point of that?
right.
But
Right.
they have a $9.95 internet essentials.
They do.
So I feel like it's.
And if you look deeper in their proposal, they even went as far as breaking it out to a difference between residents and commercial as well, which I found very useful.
And agreeable to me was the approach from Comcast was the most universal and provided the most diversity. Basically paying for the tier of service. You want a wire band, higher bandwidth, higher price. But they were the most competitive with least restrictions, no upfront costs, no installation charges, whatnot, things like that. I mean, that was conveyed in the other proposals, but they were the less impact for a consumer, for our
Well, that's what I was
Yes,
looking
ma'am.
for, because sometimes
Well, actually, it
you
was
have
much
a new
dynamic.
service and there's a lot of bells and whistles you have to pay for that you want.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to give you $9 service if you need $9,000 worth of equipment.
Right.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I think as part of all the proposals, they were required to be a part of that FTC program. I think it's ACP.
Okay.
So they have to participate if they get this grant.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I think that's income-based too.
Yeah.
Or,
Yes.
so it's, yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to just, I want to applaud the IT department and JCDA. This has been, this is a feather in our cap because, and we talk about equity and making sure everybody gets it. We didn't even throw an equity lens over this because equity is across the board even. So I think for our citizens, who have to work from home, who have to, homeschool their children, or whatever business they have to do at home, this brings equity across the board. Jefferson really puts us on the map with respect to that. So I know a lot of work went into that, a lot of work went into writing the RPs and reviewing the score. I was part of that scoring process, put a lot of hours into that, and I think this is just a huge success for the commission. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it.
And real quickly, I want to summarize it briefly. Officials from Comcast we have spoke with in the last 48 hours, very enthusiastic about the opportunity, very appreciative of the potential of the opportunity, and they look forward to the partnership. So they have already been very communicative and straightforward with any questions we had. If you all approve, it will be your all ahead.
This might be in here, and I'm sorry I missed it. Do we have timeline on deployment if this is approved?
Yes, ma'am.
Completion?
It goes through, we have a theory at everyone, it depends on Charleston's leveraging the application, upon us agreeing into getting it. I don't want to give you a timeline once.
I was gonna say, I didn't want to hear that.
It's 24 months. It has to be completed within a 2-year period from the time that it's awarded and allowed for the board.
Awarded with we have to have an executed grant.
Right.
So the time from us, you approving to the grant being approved isn't in that 24 months.
No.
I just didn't want you thinking it was 24 for us.
There's no, I mean, it could be, hopefully it could be sooner rather than later, but we're moving at the speed of bureaucracy.
If we had broadband, it would be quicker. But I think this is where we would also take the opportunity with our office to reach out to our elected officials and say, here's where we're going, here's what we'd like to do, and we elected you, please come in and support us and pull whatever lever you need to pull.
We meet with all of them next week, and this is primary. You all are in concurrence tonight. We have our legislative conference in Charleston, moving our application, both as a group and region independently. And this will be number one of our asks to help assist with once the application is submitted and approved, that we can expedite.
I'll make the motion to approve the Comcast proposal for the state gig ready program and submit to the state for approval and funding.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, Steve's here. Hi.
He's the background and he's been saying aye. 5-0.
Well, I appreciate the work of the committee because, this is a lot for the layman, myself, to compare and evaluate. So I really appreciate your hard work.
Thank you. And I personally, because I deal with the JCDA more than I work with folks from your end of the county, I want to thank Mr. Nestle for his leadership with the committee, as well as the support from his office and finance and the IT. It was a pleasure to work with them.
Thank you very much. I mean, if this gets approved, this is a great win for the county. This will be more fiber backbones running through the county, lots more opportunities. It's a wonderful thing if we get approved for this grant and this money goes through.
And just for full transparency, we set that 500,000 aside out of ARPA funds, correct? That's for that.
That was my understanding. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you, folks.
Russell, you have one more item?
Yep, okay, I have one more, and this is Andrews, and I'd like to bring up Jessica one more. She's our GIS coordinator in the department. And I want her to fly the plane, I don't really want to go up.
Can you just go?
You bet, you bet.
All right.
Thank you.
A couple of months ago, we were contacted by Thrasher Engineering, who has run our last 2 aerial photographies, to see if we wanted to participate in the 2023 flight that they have planned. I lost my train of thought. Because of how much building we've had over the last year, and with the comprehensive plan update coming up, we thought it would be a very good opportunity to participate. The assessor's office has decided to run their purchases of aerials on a 2-year cycle. So did it last year, so they won't do it again until 2024, if they have the funds at the time. And then we wouldn't get those until the end of 2024, which would be past the comprehensive plan for the most part. So we would like to participate in the 2023 flight. We have gotten together a group of 5 different agencies to help fund the flight. The proposed total by Thrasher is $14,070, which actually is a very good price, because in 2016 we did a similar venture with a group of agencies, and it was actually slightly higher, I think. So it's a little cheaper this year. We've gotten participation from Charlestown, Branson, the Charlestown Utility Board, E911, and then the IT department to split the cost. So what we're proposing is what we did in 2016, which is the county pays the full price to Thrasher upon delivery of the aerials. And then the participating agencies reimburse the county their portion.
And we have memorandums of.
Yes, we have memorandums of understanding that they will do so, and with their total, the outside agencies are all offering 2,500 of it each, and then our 2 departments are 3285 each. And they have all agreed that even if the data comes in before the next budget cycle, they are willing to pay out of this budget cycle.
Just the only other thing I'd say is some of the things that this really helps us with, it ensures the accuracy of the 911 data and everything that's out there. And I'm saying these, but she actually gave them to me. But it really helps our engineering and planning and researching, land for permitting, site plans, subdivisions, and it goes a long way towards our comprehensive plan update that will largely be using data from this 2023.
We've also, just today, actually, I figured out how to make it into a service for our online maps. So we will be putting the 2022s up on the online maps very soon. And once the 2023s come in, they will also be available for our public maps.
That's great. I love looking into this area.
You don't have any questions I can answer, or I can pretend to answer and then look at Jessica?
I do not. Anybody else? No?
I can just say one other thing towards this. I find the importance of it simply because all these others have agreed to participate, and there was no hanging back or anything. They're like, yes, we want to.
No hesitation.
I'd like to thank Jessica, you've done an amazing job. I think opening this up to the public has really made the transparency just so much more evident, because you can be a regular citizen, go online and start looking at these things. And that is paramount for where we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I will move to approve the purchase order of $14,070 for 2023 digital aerial photography, and direct staff to collect contributions from participating.
Was it 14,070 or 700?
14,007.
Okay, sorry, my misunderstanding. I hit the wrong one.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? And 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
So next, do we need to vote to convene as a Board of Tax Appeals or? Yes.
I move that we, the county commission convenes as the Board of Tax Appeals.
Second? All those in favor? Opposed? And with that, 5-0, we are convened as the Board of Tax Appeals. And people agreements / exoneration. First up is David Tabb.
And is the assessor
I think
online?
Yeah, and I think that, is online. He's not online?
This is Angie Banks. Can you hear me? Okay.
We can hear you, Angie.
Okay. See what he said.
Okay. Do we have Angie go first?
I think it's my understanding that there's been some resolution to some of these issues. And I think if you let Angie explain that, I think we'll be able to move forward.
Hi, this is Angie Banks, Jefferson County Assessor. David Tabb and I met on January 13th, 2023 for the 2022 assessment. And we agreed to reduce his assessment, assessed value $7,600, tax amount $90.56. It's in Harpers Ferry District, 2022 Land Book, Map 10, Parcel 8.
Can you repeat that one more time, Angie, the land and parcel?
It is Map 10, Parcel 8, and ticket number 14478.
And the assessed value was 7,600, and what?
That is what we reduced it, and the amount we reduced, the difference is 7,600, which the amount of taxes, tax credit would be $90.56.
So then I would make a motion for the reduced tax credit of $90.56 on map 10, parcel 8, ticket number 14478 for Mr. David Tabb.
Second.
Any discussion?
Second here. You second? Yes.
Second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so that is 4-0.
Angie, yes, David Tabb. In the haste of doing one, we still had one left. Map 10, parcel 8, section 4, the 1.17 or 1.18 acres in Halltown. We did not address that one at that time, and I have additional information to challenge the assessment for $46,000. My request was for $30,000, and I actually have a letter from a company out in New Jersey wanting to purchase my property. This is a bona fide offer for $10,738. So I know that I forgot about it, but I'm here now to address that before the board review and also make mention that this was supposed to have been done in October instead of now.
I do not have that parcel information in front of me. And, it'll be up to the commission what they want to do, or if they want to reschedule to hear the other parcel.
What is the pleasure?
I think we should hear it, but I think we should reschedule it, or should we do the second? Or whatever works for you.
Again, y'all are actually out of town per se. So, and of course, I'm gonna be back on the other part too. So I don't know if y'all want to combine that again, but whatever y'all want to do.
We can push that to the February 2nd agenda. Angela, does that give you enough time if we push that to the February 2nd agenda?
That will be fine.
Okay. So we'll move that.
I do want to mention that the other applicant, Kenneth Smith, we were unable to get in touch with him, and we found out that he had passed away. And we talked to his widow a couple of days ago, and she would like to have a new date set because she was out of town when we talked to her. So.
We have a representative.
It's Corrine Smith is his widow. And she did not know her husband had filed Board of Appeals. And as I said, we were unable to get in touch with him. And of course, we found out he did pass away. So, but she would like to come. And,
Angela, her daughter is here now. His
oh,
daughter.
okay.
So I think we're going to have to reschedule that because we need witnesses.
Yes, we're going to have to reschedule because I don't have the information in front of me.
It says.
Well, it looks like we're going to reschedule.
Yes, we're going to reschedule that. We'll have Angela get in touch with her, and then we'll get that rescheduled. I'm not sure that's going to happen next week. I don't know. That's up to the assessor.
Did you mention the first one and are we going to need to reschedule this one?
Yes. Okay, so I make a motion to move to reschedule Mr. David Tabb as well as Mr. Kenneth Smith. Do I have a second?
Second?
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and with that, it is 4-0.
For purposes of clarification, Commissioner F., are you moving to reschedule that meeting, or do you want to?
For purpose of clarification, I would leave it to the assessor.
I think we'll move David to February 2nd, and we'll have the assessor reschedule the other one, whatever day it's their schedule. The assessor will have to work with detail.
So I move to amend my motion to include Mr. David Tabb on February 2nd and Kenneth Smith in accordance with the assessor's office. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
And one recusal.
And one recusal. Okay, so next on the agenda is interviews and appointments.
Commissioner F., I suggest you move to come out of.
I move to come out of the Board of Tax Appeals. Do I have a second? And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and with that, we come out of the Board of Tax Appeals.
I have a question. Are we not doing number 1 this evening?
No, that was during the announcements. They had said.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. So next is the interviews and appointments to the, we'll do the Jefferson County Board of Zoning Appeals first.
Is Mr. Tyler Quinn online? I think or Colin Shrimp.
I'm online if I'm audible.
And so is Miss Michaela.
Yes, I'm online. Can you hear me?
I'm online. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
So we can go with
Okay.
Mr. Tyler Quinn first.
Okay, Mr. Quinn,
Yes, ma'am.
so would you like to, I've read through your application, would you like to give a bit about why you'd like to serve on the board?
That's just my way of serving the community using my past knowledge and experience.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Quinn?
I just have a question for Mr. Quinn. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know you have served on the board for a number of years, and I thank you for that. Just, can you tell me perhaps your most, what you feel is the challenge of serving on the board, or something you would like to see changed or done differently? I'm just curious. I think it's a tough job that you have. I just want to know what you see as the best way to move forward.
I think it would be nice if the board could have a full membership that would meet regularly, and we would have not just a quorum of 3, but 5 members that would be there on a regular basis. I think we have a well-diversified board now. It's been a long time. We've been a long time without alternate members. It's been years, as a matter of fact, and we've had members move for either sickness or other reasons. But I think that would be my only response to that question.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I can see that would indeed be a challenge. You only had
Yes,
3
ma'am.
5-member board.
Any more questions for Mr. Quinn? No?
I will go ahead and make a motion since this is for the board. Or would you rather do the other interview and then make?
I think probably do the other interview and then. Okay, with that, Ms. Shremshock, you're still online?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Michaela Shremshock from Harpers Ferry. I've been a homeowner in Jefferson County now for over 10 years and have really grown to love the community. I have been serving as an alternate on the Board of Zoning Appeals for the past 3 years and have learned a lot from Mr. Quinn. And I've very much enjoyed learning more about the county governance and being on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I don't know if you were going to ask me the same question, but I will just jump in and answer it anyway. I think one of the things that we could really improve is just educating the public on the ability to come and speak at the meetings. Having them virtually obviously offers a lot more opportunities for residents of the county to come and speak on issues. And oftentimes, Mr. Quinn has to spend much of the meeting educating them on the process and the purpose of the meeting, and they don't necessarily understand how the zoning board works. So I think that would be one of the things I would like to see improved. And it would also help my edification of the zoning process as well and how the planning commission all works. But anyway, I would like to reapply as an alternate for the next 3 years and continue serving in this limited capacity for now.
Well, thank you, Michaela. So are there any more questions for Michaela? No?
I'm nominate, well, I move we appoint, we don't have to, Mr. Tyler Quinn to 1 3-year term ending January 1, 2026 for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? With that, 5-0. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for reapplying and continuing to serve.
Well, I'm going to also move to appoint Michaela Shremshock as an alternate to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And they've got all sorts of slots, so I'm going to put you in until January 1st, 2026.
Sounds good.
And I'll second. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And with that, Michaela is an alternate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you also for your service, all of you.
Thank you. Okay, so next up, we have Jefferson County Parks and Rec. We have 3 unexpired terms ending in June 30th, 2025. So do we have a Karen Starry Manuel Gregor? In the
Yes,
room?
that's correct.
Online?
That's correct. That's correct.
Oh, okay. So Karen, would you like to tell us a bit why you would like to serve on Parks and Rec?
Yes, good evening. My name is Karen Gregoric. I've lived in Jefferson County for 61 years, my entire life. My family's from here. I'm presently retired from Delta Airlines, where I worked as an international flight attendant for 30 years. I was based in LA, New York, and Boston, and while being active within the community, I've held positions on the board of directors with the Old Opera House. I've served as president of the Guild with the Old Opera House. During that time, we've raised money for the Old Opera House. And I'm also an associate member with the Shenandoah Garden Club. I'm a notary public with the state of West Virginia, and I'm a member of the Jefferson County Historical Society. And I have great interest in this area since I've been here my whole life. And I'd like to work with the Parks and Rec to make it greater and have more opportunities for adults and children in the community.
Okay. Any more questions for Karen? No? Well, then I move to appoint Karen Starry Manuel Gregoric to the Jefferson County Parks and Rec Commission for an unexpired term ending on June 30th, 2025.
I second. Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and with that, Karen, we welcome you to the Parks and Rec Board. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it doesn't look like we have any more applicants for Parks and Rec right now. So anyone in the room, we still have 2 openings. But next up is the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority. We have 1 3-year term ending January 31st, 2026.
We actually have 2 3-year, we need 2 seats.
Yeah.
We have 2 seats?
Yeah. 2 3-year terms.
My paper says 1. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Jenny Brockman. I'm one of the applicants, but I did talk to Elaine Barstow today because I thought there was 2 and I saw 1.
Yeah.
And she said there is a second opening because somebody had resigned midstream. Mine's like the ending of a term taken over.
If you want to come on up.
I knew somebody had been unable to fulfill their term, so I didn't know what.
We don't know what that date is.
No, but she does have a potential person, I think, that may let you guys know that they're interested in filling the position.
Well, we have 2 applicants, so.
Oh, you do? Oh, good.
So Jennifer, if you want to tell us a bit why you'd like to serve.
Well, I've been on the board for, I guess it's probably 3 or 4 times now. I think I filled somebody's position, and then when they were doing a major planning effort, and we were doing the comprehensive plan. And so I met a former director at that time, and they said, why don't you be on our board so we can try to collaborate where growth is occurring and where we're putting buses and how we're planning things. So I also have 3 children, adult children that don't drive. And so availability of public transit is really important to our family, and trying to make it as available throughout Jefferson County is an important part of what we do. But it's a really important, especially with the comprehensive plan happening again, to be able to collaborate how they're making decisions about where bus stops are and where buses are going with our new development. I think it's a good overlap of those efforts. So I'm glad to serve another term.
Thank you. And Jenny has been secretary at FPTA a long time. I'm the county liaison, so, you know, she's not just somebody there to vote.
Yeah.
She's got to pay attention, take notes. And do all that good stuff, so. Let's see, I will move that we reappoint Jenny Brockman to the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority Board for another 3-year term ending January 31st, 2026.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and with that, Jenny, thank you for continuing.
Thank you. I had gotten an email, and maybe some of you all did too, Elizabeth Ricketts was, she sent it in, and it was kind of past the deadline. I don't know if I have all that. She did make her deadline? Okay. I don't.
I couldn't quite hear you. I wasn't sure if I had made it the deadline to be considered for the position or if I need to wait until the next meeting. Elizabeth?
Oh, you sound a little bit. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, a little better now.
That's fair enough.
I wasn't sure if I made it for the deadline to apply for the position.
Yeah.
You did meet the deadline?
Yeah.
I did? Okay.
Okay, so Elizabeth, if you want to tell us a little bit why you would like to serve on the board.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I serve right now on the Charlestown City Council. I was elected in 2021, and in that capacity, I also serve on the Infrastructure Committee, formerly the Streets Committee. Since being elected, I have, of my own free will, have chosen to attend many of the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority meetings and feel well-versed in the projects that are being undertaken by the board. I also attend many of the Hagerstown Eastern Panhandle Metropolitan Planning Organization meetings and the Region 9 meetings. I was also selected to participate in the Smart Growth America Complete Streets Champion Institute, and I'm receiving guidance on how to better promote public transit and multimodal transportation in our community. And I just think that there's a lot of potential for improving and expanding upon what the Pantran has already accomplished. And as our area grows, we'll see a heavier reliance on public transit. And so I would just really appreciate the opportunity to serve in this capacity. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any more questions for Ms. Ricketts? No. And then so we know that the date is?
It's a 3-year term ending January 31st, 2026.
Okay. Well, then I will make a motion to appoint Elizabeth Ricketts to the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority Board for a 3-year term beginning in January of 2023.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, 5-0. So thank you, Elizabeth. We look forward to having you.
Yeah, look forward to having a full contingency from Jefferson County on the board.
Okay. And then do we have a nominee for the Charlestown Utility Board?
No.
No.
No one came.
Now, am I correct? The Charles County Utility Board has to be a former PSB customer who serve on the board. for the commission.
Yes.
I think that's what it is. So I'm just putting an advertisement out there. We need somebody to serve on this board. There's some important things happening as far as utilities. So you have to be, to qualify, I believe, for this position, you have to be a former customer of the PSD service district, which is somewhat limited.
Okay. So then the next item on our agenda is Krista Davis, Finance Director, and John Nissel, County Administrator, the budget charge fiscal year.
So, yes, we, typically the budget charge is done more towards the end of the calendar year. This year, because Commissioner Kraus is a new commissioner coming on to the commission, we elected to do the budget charge after you got here. We wanted you to be an integral part of decision. And so we've held it off to now. So I'm going to turn it over to Krista Davis, our Finance Director. She has a short PowerPoint. And then we will show you some numbers, give you some forecasts. Understand that these are just forecasts because the land levy has not been done yet. There's some more forecasting that has to come along with this. But we wanted to give you some idea of what we're looking at for the next fiscal year. So, Krista, if you look at the screens, we do have the PowerPoint up on us.
Perfect. Good evening, Commissioners. Before we get started, I handed out a revised budget charge letter with more precise figures for COLA and merit increases. We had a big cleanup project to complete. We updated salaries and removed employees from the projections who are no longer with the county. And we added employees who had onboarded in the past 2 years. And we have about 220 employees. So we coded them with their correct pay codes, location codes. Everything's nice and clean now. So if you'd like to review that, but we will also review the content of this letter and the short PowerPoint. Try to make this as painless as possible for you. So if you want to just turn to the first page in your presentation under highlights, we are projecting higher for FY23 tax revenues. We are at 10 million right now in the middle of the fiscal year. We're projecting 16. FY22, we were at 14. So if that tells you any indication of where we're going to be at the end of FY23, we're in a good position. We'll be estimating an additional revenue of about 2 million in FY24. We may realize some of that in FY23 as well. Real property assessed values increased by 18% in FY23 over FY22. The levy rate was reduced in FY23. It had been at its maximum in prior years.
Good that it's
And the Sheriff's Department will be proposing a pay scale. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that they will be proposing that. And then we will be discussing the COLA and merit increases. And I will provide the cost information to you for 2 scenarios. But we'll get into that a little bit. So the next slide, tax revenue. We talked a little bit about this, but we're at 10.2 million year to date. We're expected to exceed the budget amount of 16.4 million. Until I see the revenue actually realized and it becomes actuals, I'm still only projecting a 3%. Because what we don't want to do is over project and then overspend based upon an over projection, if that makes sense. The big movers, FY22 over FY21, hotel occupancy, increase of 38%. Building permits, increase of 33%. Table games, increase of 45%. Video lottery, increase of 12%. The other revenues, I'm seeing the top line tax revenue being public utility taxes, ad valorem taxes, which are actually just property taxes with a fancy name. They're also projected to be higher. So that leads us to the next slide. Real property assessed values increased by 18% in FY23 over FY22. The increase was driven by new construction, $95 million, That number was provided to me by the assessor's office. And I believe Roger will be asking for another building inspector, so this makes sense to me that when I hear that. So we do have an increase on the, most of the increase from the 3.85 billion in FY22 to the 4.55 billion in FY23 is the increase in the assessed value of existing properties to the tune of $700 million. And I think that is unprecedented for this county. I have not seen that in the historical trends for this county. So what does that mean in terms of the levy rates? So I put this slide in here to give the commissioners what the timeline is for the levy rates. I know we have a new commissioner on staff, so I just wanted to put this in here. So we use a levy system that guarantees a steady revenue from property taxes. And the rates were reduced in FY23 because the assessed values were higher. Where preliminary estimates giving the large amount of assessed value being so much higher, we are anticipating the levy rate to be reduced again. The interesting part of that is it may not actually change the amount of taxes that people pay. I'm still figuring that piece out of how that works, but more to follow on that. So the budget is determined and the levy rate is set by the commission during the period between the 3rd and 28th day of March. And then that levy estimate is forwarded to the state auditor's office for approval. Once approved, the commission reconvenes on the 3rd Tuesday in April to officially lay the levy. And Angie Banks will do some rollback calculations and we will meet to determine what those figures look like before they go to the state. All right, Sheriff's Department pay scale. So the sheriff met with us, one of the deputies, to discuss a pay scale that they're interested in implementing to improve recruitment and retention. So they are looking to do a 5% increase in the first 5 years, then reduce it to 2.5% for years 6 through 10, then 2.5% every other year afterwards. And that would be on top of the COLA. So that would be their form of a merit increase. One legal issue that was brought to my attention right before I came into the meeting is that we may not legally, as a commission, be able to promise a salary beyond 1 year of a projected budget, because you would then be tying the hands of a future commission's ability to set the budget. So I'm not an attorney, but I think there could be a little bit of a risk. Well, maybe a lot of a risk there. I just don't know about it yet. COLA merit increases. So we are currently, our merit increases take effect on the employee's anniversary date. That's how we've been historically doing that. We would like to explore the option of the merit increase taking effect on 7/1 at the beginning of the fiscal year. There are some benefits to that for our department heads. They would know that 7/1 of every year, those funds are front loaded to be distributed to their employees. And it's also a good reminder for them, because sometimes people do slip through the cracks, like the anniversary date comes and goes, and then I get a message that says, I didn't get my raise. Well, that's not good. So this would be an internal way of really, sorry, my son decides to call me. Allowing those managers more flexibility with their staff and to be able to parse out that money at the beginning of the fiscal year. It's also easier budgetarily to, right now I'm doing really wonky calculations for number of days between the date of their anniversary and the end of the fiscal year, and it's complicated. So it's gonna cost an extra $300K in the first year. After that, it's gonna even out. So I can't really think of a better time to do it than now, because of the revenue projections are good. Assessed values are high, but that's just what the costs will be. And again, inflation's at 7%. I did some research on consumer price index and it's not going down. It went down by -0.1%. So I was hoping it would go down. So just in summary, I just kind of threw this in light of the county's growth, our financial outlook is a positive one. It may be a good time to consider some equity adjustments for staff, the COLA and merit increases, and adoption of pay scales, if it's legal, to increase recruiting and retention and to offset some.
If I can interject, is that the last by Kristen?
Yes.
Okay, so if I could interject a couple of things just for clarity purposes. Last year, the budget charge was a 5% merit and 2% COLA. We bumped that 2% COLA up to 2.5%. And the commissioners agreed that every merit increase, every 5% merit increase would come at the anniversary date. Once the budget was approved and packaged up, I had a lot of conversations with the other elected officials who thought differently. They thought that all that was going to be front loaded and were a little upset because they like to dole their money out however they feel they want to dole their money out. So I promised to the other elected officials that we would bring forward this year those two scenarios, that if we front loaded the merit and COLA would be front loaded anyway, 2.5%, what that number would look like. Now, just keep in mind that if you front load the other elected officials and say it's July 1, they can, at their own discretion, dole that money out in December, October, and whatever they want to do. We have no say over that out of my office. If you say to me, my 120 employees, you get it at your anniversary date, that's how we'll load it in, or we can load it all up on July 1. We would make everybody's performance evaluation due July 1. We would give them the merit and COLA, but their anniversary date would remain their anniversary date for purposes of retirement. I just wanted to bring some clarity to that as well. And you don't have to give us a yes or no tonight, but we wanted this to marinate with you for a while because it is a big number. But like Krista said, in the out years, it will even itself out. We were approached by the Sheriff's Department a couple of days ago, and they used to do a long time ago a step increase. And a lot of sheriff departments and police departments around the state and around the country do these step increases. And basically, they can map out their future and they can say, well, in 20 years when I retire, this is where I'll be because it's guaranteed. When we met with the Sheriff's Department, I'm not opposed to that. I think it's a good model. However, as Krista said, the law prohibits us from guaranteeing you 5% a year. So there is an inherent risk there that next year we're not going to be doing as well as we are this year with our budget charge. So that's another thing that you just kind of want to consider as you're thinking about that. And they would have to be, they'd have to be made very aware that next year they may not get that 5. They may only get 3, they may get 1. We just don't know what the assessed value and the alarm tax is going to come in at. The third thing I want to just put into your heads is, as you look at these numbers, we're coming back to you in February on 3 consecutive days. I don't know if they're consecutive days. We're putting 3 days in February, an evening where staff will come in and present their budgets. Now, in years past, it's been a little crazy how we present our budget because we sort of commingled everybody and whatever time slot they could fill. So you might have JCDA presenting at 7 o'clock, and then the libraries, and then the rec department, and then my engineering permitting department. What we're doing this year to make it a little bit easier, I think, for you folks to get your head around the budget, is we're going to tranche those out into 3 separate tranches. The first will be my directors. They will come in and present to you first. And then the second tranche will be all the elected officials. They will come to present to you next. And then we'll have all the ancillary asks at the end. I think that might give you some more clarity in making those decisions, because they are big decisions to make. There are departments and there are elected officials who I'm sure are going to come to you with new initiatives, whether they want more staff, whether they want more money or training, whatever the case may be. They're going to present that to you, and then you will have an opportunity to ask a lot of questions. You'll be able to ask them if the budget's going. You'll know if the budget's going to go up, stay neutral, go down. And then this gives you a little bit better opportunity to kind of get your head around where you want to see all these budgets lie at the end of the day. The good news is because of what Kristen reported, we're doing a lot better this year than we did last year. We've got about $2 million, I won't say to play with, but there's $2 million in there that that you have at your disposal, that you can decide to do with whatever you want. You're the decision makers. So with this 7%, and we're actually recommending that we give the same COLA merit that we did last year, 5 and 2.5. That's 7.5% merit COLA combined. However you want to dole that out, that's your responsibility. It's certainly cheaper to dole it out at your anniversary date, because if somebody's anniversary date falls in June, you only have to budget 1 month of 5% to hit the end of the fiscal year. So that's where you save a little bit of dollars, and that's where you were last year when you made those decisions. I just wanted to kind of map that out a little bit for you, so as we move through this process, you have the ability to make some sound decisions.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get long-winded, but I just want to make sure I got that out.
I appreciate that.
Mhm.
I'm still learning.
And for Commissioner Kraus, this is your first rodeo on this one, so I want to make sure that you're all checked in with what you do.
I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Thank
And at times it is a rodeo.
Yeah. So February will be an extremely busy month for you. We're not really asking you to do anything today. We just wanted to bring the numbers forward to you so you can take a look at those, and certainly we'll answer any questions.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. And with that, our next item is Nathan Cochran.
Yeah, I don't have any items on those two things. We're very packed out tonight, so I'm gonna put it off to a future.
Then if there's nothing from Nathan, next is unfinished business. Our first is the approval and edit of letter of no confidence to the Jefferson County Board of Education. Commissioner Krause, if you want
Commissioner F, could I point out that our office is statutorily appointed to represent the Board of Education as well as you, and therefore I must absent myself from this. And could I also point out the number 10 policy 305 discussion, to the extent that that would intrude into any discussion about the clerk's authority versus commission's authority. We had absented ourselves from that before based on an ethics opinion that we received. So I would suggest that if you hold 8 and if you do 8 and 10 together, I'll just remove myself from the room and then we'll do point number 9 if that's okay.
The commission is okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
We'll do 8 and 10.
Thank you.
So we're starting with 9?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're starting with 8.
With 8, with 8.
Yeah, Nathan's gonna start out.
Okay.
We're going to do 8 and 10.
Okay. I think we all remember that we received letters from the Washington High School Faculty Senate, as well as the Jefferson High School Faculty Senate, regarding the reduction in semester exam grade weights. There was a lot of opposition to that from the teachers, who have worked very, very hard to get their exams prepared, and well, I think everybody knows. We voted to draft a letter to the State Board of Education, the West Virginia State Board of Education, to look into that. I volunteered to draft a letter, which I did do. I sent it to the commission office, who put it on letterhead for us to review and sign and get sent. So with that, I'm not sure how we proceed. I do not have a letter to sign. Have we all looked at the letter? So
I've looked at it. I have no changes to the letter.
Do you have anything to say about that, Jane?
I believe the fourth paragraph opens the county commission up to a lawsuit.
where it starts, we write you today? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, let me read that.
So Commissioner Cap, what would be your concern?
I think it's shaky legal ground. I mean, it's shaky to put that out there, and I think the folks that are being talked about in the paragraph will come back with perhaps legal action. I think you're making unsubstantiated claims.
I don't believe that they're unsubstantiated. I'm sorry about that. This is information that I have heard from teachers and people in the faculty.
Well, it is true that Board of Ed members do have children attending their school system.
Yes, ma'am.
Which I think is, perfectly normal.
Of course.
But to say that they would stand to benefit financially from their decisions, I think is crossing a line that you don't want to cross.
Well, two of them, I do want to cross it. Two of them do have high school students who are eligible, I would suspect, for that promised scholarship. And I believe the smart thing for them to have done would have been to recuse themselves from that so that they would be able to avoid any, impropriety or.
What does the decision on a final exam or a semester exam have to do with the promised scholarship?
I'll tell you what it has to do with. And I attended the Board of Education meeting that following Monday so that I could hear for myself what that would be. One teacher put it, if you have a student who is doing great, say he's got an 89 in the class, and he's trying to get over that hump, and he's counting on his semester exam grade to bring him over. And this semester exam is not given enough weight, he won't get it. He won't get where he needs to go and where he's worked so hard to get. Another problem is that this encouraged many of the students to not take exams at all because they knew that this was not weighted very heavily. And I think the important thing to remember here is that we don't need to argue about this. The faculty senates invited us in. They involved us because they wanted our help. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I'm saying the way this letter is drafted has problems.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anything further? So Jennifer, would you like to make a motion to approve?
I would like to make a motion to approve the letter concerning the actions of the Jefferson County Board of Education.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed vehemently.
Steve online?
Steve? Commissioner
Yes.
Salter?
I voted in favor.
No.
In favor?
Yes.
Okay, so that is 4-1. Okay. The next item is, we're moving to 10, so policy 305 discussion and review of red line revisions.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, I'll take the lead. And there are a few extra copies. Sarita has those on her desk if anybody wants it. I got this in today and it wasn't in time to obviously put it in the agenda packet. So there's just a few small edits to the purchase order policy. Basically, the authority lies with the county clerk sheriff's office. Previously, it said finance director, and I changed that to county commission. We are the governing body that's ultimately responsible for the financial situation. It's just vendors, that all vendors qualified vendors go through the county, that their agreements, including terms and conditions of the agreements, must be provided to the county clerk's office in order to be, once they're approved, accepted and entered in to be paid. I mean, some of the edits are very minor. The main point that I want to point out is on page 3. The purchase order policy requires a purchase requisition to be submitted for items of $5,000 or greater. It discourages splitting needed items into smaller quantities and invoicing to avoid the purchase order policy. I left all of that alone. But for purchases and invoicing processing for items less than $5,000, I added this section. Is invoicing process for purchases less than $5,000 are ones that do not require a purchase order. Invoices are to be entered into the financial system with supporting documentation. It is the responsibility of the purchaser to confirm that funds are available in the budgeted account to make the purchase before securing items and services. If the budgeted line item does not have the necessary funds to pay for the invoice will not be processed for payment. It will be the purchaser's responsibility to complete a budget revision or a budget transfer request in the financial system with details to support that revision or that transfer, and obtain electronic approvals from the commission or its designee. The department manager may also have to appear before the commission in order to ask the commission for additional funds or monies to accommodate in the form of a budget revision. The other changes are very, very minor. And again, there's copies over there. So this is what I'm presenting, that we, 1, make the edits or approve these edits, and 2 is that we start enforcing this policy so that we avoid taking delivery of items and then committing the county to debts, and we're not following where the money is going. This will help us better budget and better understand what we're doing with your funds and how they're being spent. So I think it's a huge step in the direction of transparency, particularly with your tax dollars.
So, this one?
Yeah.
I just, Mr. Jackson, I spoke a little bit before the meeting, and the only red flag that rises up with me, and we talked a little bit about this, is where it says on page 3, systems with details of revision transfer. She struck the finance director and the commissioner or its designee. I think we just need to interpret designee, and because designee could be anybody. And so I think this body doing its due diligence at the beginning of the fiscal year, beginning of the calendar year, like approving bills, will have to say who the commission's designee is going to be, and you probably want a backup designee for that. So if you say the designee is the finance director and the county administrator, or whoever you want that to be, I just think you need to clarify that to take a little bit of vagueness out of the verbiage here. That's where I'm at. I don't really have issues with a lot of the other stuff in here, but it's the designee piece that I think is the biggest sticky point.
Well, and I understand where you're coming from. I believe county administrators hired to represent and do the operational things for the county commission. So if we designated county administrator, the finance director ultimately reports up to you, as do the other directors in the county. So I could see, I agree, we would have to designate, but I believe ultimately it would be your responsibility to make sure we're informed and that things are running appropriately.
Right, so you may want to just leave in the designee as a county administrator or his or her designee.
Yeah.
That may simplify things, I'm not sure. Because you could designate another elected official as a designee. You could do that if if you're going to the letter of the law here. And I just caution you that, probably need to just detail and clarify that. That's my only suggestion.
Yeah. I can see your point on that. I'm always interested in having backup. I mean, somebody's that are important to the budget process can be out of town, ill, whatever. And we just need to make sure things can still move forward in processing all the payments that are due. So.
I mean, I understand the reason behind this. I understand it's a transparency issue. You want to make sure, if I'm reading this correctly, checks and balances, I'm about that. But we do have a finance director. She is fully vested in this process. We've always relied on the finance director to make sure that, we're checking things along the way. So, it's, just something you may want to think about. The other things in here, I really don't have issues.
Well, and I agree, but the hierarchy is county commission and then you, then the finance director. So if we made you the designee, and then you task the finance director with just making sure, or in relation as backup,
Well, can we
in that chain of command.
So let me
let's
say,
state that somewhere so it's clearly understood.
like, change designee to administrator. Yeah. His backup.
I mean, yes, if we want to designate, I don't have a problem saying county administrator, and then it's ultimately John's responsibility to make sure we're meeting his policy.
Other than that, and if you want to go, we can go ahead and clean this up a little bit, Commissioner Jackson, and come back next week with a clean version of that.
Or how about just a clean version on the second for us to actually vote on?
Yeah, what we can do is we can clean it up, get it to you folks well in advance of the second. We've got 2 weeks. And then if there's an issue, I missed something or whatever, you can discuss it on the second.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Well, John, I just want to point out is like the emergency expenditures, we have them working through you for those. So ultimately, we're saying you,
okay.
Well, you're it, but it's your responsibility to make sure that that's handled and it gets raised to the commission as well.
No, I agree. I think with the emergency expenditures, if I blow a boiler, I need to go get a boiler tomorrow.
Well, and this is in the same vein.
Yes.
With the hierarchy and the reporting structure.
Got it. Good.
Okay.
I don't think you need to make a motion on that. We're just going to clean up the draft, get it back to you folks, and then you can.
Second.
Second.
So will it be voted on the second? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, we'll table it
Okay.
to the second,
No motion.
the revision.
Motion discussed to vote. Approved. And then we'll change it, get it into the system.
Okay,
All be good.
all right.
Well, and if we designate you and you're out and the finance director's out, you've always got Cindy as backup. So that's why we kind of want to leave it general to John to do it.
Cindy is my backup on everything. She's my deputy county administrator. So when I'm not here, she's in.
Correct.
Okay.
If you want to get Nathan back.
I'm getting Nathan, yeah.
Okay, so next up on unfinished business, we're gonna jump back to agenda item number 9, discussion and review for possible adoption of county commission's proposed invocation and prayer policy. I did want to say, I don't know the pleasure of the commission, I know Lynn had raised earlier that it wasn't included in the agenda packet. So I would be in favor of discussing, but holding until the next meeting for a vote so that the public's able to see.
Sure, that's fine. And yeah, I had no issue with putting it in for public review, but it's advised against.
So are we tabling that one until the next,
Well,
or what?
I did want to be clear about the red line version of the original that you sent over. There were, it was pretty good, but there were several things in that original that you sent that I really did not want or like.
Before we enter into any discussion about that policy, I really desperately need to discuss some liability issues. And because discussion of liability issues, just for the folks that are here, what I'm essentially going to want to discuss with the commission is ways that you can get sued.
I'm aware of the
And
ways,
so-
I'm aware of the ways that we
but-
can get sued. And
So because of that,
yeah,
I recommend that we go into executive session so I can explain it. The problem is, if we discuss that in open session, what I'm really doing is telling anyone out there that might want to sue you, how to sue you. And I don't think that that's a good idea.
I hear
So
what
we
you're
cannot
saying.
formulate policy in executive session. I do need to explain this liability. That's it.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll take your advice, but I would also say I'm aware of the ways that we can be sued. Nothing that I'm asking for in my proposed policy is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has ruled on this, and I have backup on this, and really, there's not a lot that, we could really get sued over. Now, that's not to say that there aren't certain people that would be unhappy anyway. And I understand that, but this is not
I
an
understand, but
unconstitutional
there are 5 commissioners here, and because of that, and all 5 of you have to make a decision,
issue.
that's why I want to discuss the liability issues. Maybe all 5 of them haven't studied this as much as you.
Okay.
And so that's why I would recommend going into executive session for that purpose. And we can't create policy in executive session. But I do need to explain to you, this is a real, there's just a lot of issues in
I'm
this
aware of
area of
that.
law.
I'm
And so
aware, I can
I'm not,
tell.
again, you probably are, but I'm not sure who is. That's why I would like to do that, but it's up to the will of the commission as to what you.
I would be in favor of going into executive session, if we keep it short.
Yeah, you would have to make the. motion.
Yes, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to go into a short executive session
To receive.
to receive legal advice
Shouldn't take long at all.
regarding the prayer policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are going. Yep. Out of the executive session. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we are out of executive session. I would like to make a motion to direct Nathan to put out the draft policy prayer for public review and comment for our next agenda item, and we will discuss it on the February 2nd agenda.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, 4-0. So next up, we have county administrator reports. John?
Yes, with your permission, Vice Chair, I'd like to read just a few comments. Some personal action. Commissioners, it's been almost a year since I was offered the position of county administrator, and naturally, I was excited to have the opportunity to work in the community I call home. Since I arrived, I've instituted onboarding and promotion of 10 staff with zero budget impact, while at the same time have rounded out the staff complement to better align with our mission. In addition to the multitude of responsibilities and accomplishments that I've achieved this year, a tremendous amount of work has been ongoing regarding the ambulance transition, including the purchase and subsequent lease of 10 ambulances to include equipment and supplies, space lease negotiations, budget analysis, and the like. My desire to hire a consultant in August was to allow both the ESA and commission staff to continue to manage their respective work programs and place the difficult task of the transition at the feet of a consultant. When ESA acknowledged at the August 18th meeting that through a letter presented in public comment that they were 90% complete, I was overly excited that they would hit the mark in the 7.5 months that they requested. Commissioner filed for motion to permit ESA to perform the work, and despite their best efforts to meet the 22 deliverables, the commission staff is now stepping up to the plate to make the deadline a reality. I'm confident that through the efforts of ESA leadership and my team, the March 1st deadline will be met as directed. The ESA board, as you know, has a vote of no confidence levied against me and is now calling for my dismissal for not meeting the deadline that ESA leadership was charged with. The record stands on its own, and I encourage everyone to reflect back on those minutes. Between moving the Farmland Protection Agency out of JCDA and into the commission as a department and transitioning the ESA over, we are now adding 2 additional departments to the county administrator's complement with a projected budget lift of over $7 million. This $7 million in additional 45 plus staff will grow the overall budget and staff complement by 1/4 of its current size. Once you reflect on that $7 million, we're at a $28 million budget. $7 million constitutes about 1/4 of that size. I believe it's only fair to recap some of the current projects and initiatives I'm working on to put into perspective exactly what a county administrator's functions include aside from running the day-to-day operations of the county. Currently, I'm resolving the issue between response plan and quickest route, which has been ongoing for over 7 years. We've assembled a team which includes representatives from each respective volunteer fire department and commission staff. I'm finalizing the transportation summer schedule for the spring, which has been on hiatus since the onset of COVID. I explained in my brief to you, this program has taken on a new look with 4 goals and measurable objectives, which will ultimately give us a voice in Charleston as to the role of DOH against our rewrite of the comprehensive plan, along with the goals of our respective municipalities. I will be bringing forward to you an ask to advertise and hire a countywide homelessness advocate. This program was introduced to the mayor's meeting 2 weeks ago with subsequent buy-in to support the effort in the out years. This position will add to the complement yet another department under the county administrator's care. We are getting ready to embark on a fleet audit to address the aging fleet of over 106 vehicles. National standards recommend that any vehicle over 10 years old or 100,000 miles should be deadline. This is a life safety issue which has been going on far too long. We will be conducting an energy audit of our downtown campus to better understand our current energy expenditures and how our aging infrastructure is affecting our efficiency efforts to lower these utility costs. We'll begin to look at our HR policies and update them to better reflect federal and state compliance codes and align ourselves with best practices regarding progressive disciplinary measures, hiring practices, evaluation protocols, class and comp measures, and the like. We are currently working on a website refresh program to make it easier for our constituents to navigate our homepage and bring a new and welcome look to our organization. We're developing a better methodology for capital outlay priorities and split out the purchasing of capital outlay from capital improvements program. This will assist us with the prioritization of both projects and purchases. We currently met with our broker at Millennium Insurance Group to explore our options about putting together a competitive bid for other health insurance carriers that may be able to better our rates and improve our benefits program for our employees. It has been over 10 years since we did this, and we need to do our due diligence. We are in discussions with the county clerk on financial responsibilities and obligations regarding the financial system that is currently run out of my office. Understand that Jefferson County has been working under the current model for over 10 years and has met all fiduciary obligations per state code, as well as put into place sound checks and balances to keep us compliant. We've improved our cybersecurity efforts by increasing our coverage with our current vendor, and will continue to bring awareness to our staff through mandatory training and policies. These are just a few of the things that we're working on, aside from the day-to-day operations of running this organization. These are just some of the projects and initiatives to better improve our operational functions across all departments, and it is my opinion that from an organizational and operational standpoint that the commission can continue to look at best practices and recognize that growth in Jefferson County will continue to drive how our local government shapes itself in the future. Impending lawsuits, the management of over 82 FOIAs in 11 months, and the uncertainty of where the budget function will lie due to the request from the county clerk's office has again caused an environment where staff morale is beginning to suffer. I mentioned this at my 6-month anniversary. They are the backbone of this organization. While I can effectively manage our work programs and attempt to keep my employees positive, I can't manage the negative rhetoric that continues to affect staff morale. Therefore, it is with regret that I write this letter to inform you of my decision to resign my position as county administrator for Jefferson County effective January 27th. I've been serving in this position for the better part of 12 months and have enjoyed the job, the people I work with, and the elected officials I support. I truly believe my performance since I arrived in February of 2022 has exceeded many expectations and brought to the commission a degree of professionalism and transparency despite the toxic environment and morale issues that existed prior to my arrival. When I interviewed for the position, I made it very clear that creating a healthy environment for my staff was paramount next to making certain we met the fiduciary obligations set by the state, which we've done. I feel that this culture is not what I expected, and the environment has been a distraction for me and my staff to successfully and professionally manage the many work programs to keep the county operating efficiently. I am sorry for this inconvenience, and I thank you for your understanding. This decision was mine to make. It was not influenced. Let me repeat, it was not influenced by any of the bully tactics displayed on social media over the last week. It's been horrendous, absolutely horrendous. My time here has been both enjoyable, challenging, and eye-opening. I sincerely feel I connected with staff, vendors, partners, and several of our elected officials on many levels. And my impetus for taking on this role was to give back to the community where I live, work, and play. I will diligently, till my departure, continue to run the business of the county, of the commission, efficiently and effectively, and I wish you the best.
Sorry, John.
And with that, we have nothing further.
They're lost, John. Yep, they're lost.
John, you've got better opportunities elsewhere.
Yes. Yeah, with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you everyone for coming out.
One of them.
It should be. I mean, I just. Yeah, probably next. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, what am I?
Last night.
Yeah, as a resident of Jefferson